2008, so that we would end up with a sum on January 13th of 2011 or January 1st of 430 grand in the roadhouse.
That should have been put into a fund and matched.
Should have budgeted, yeah.
Exactly. But it wasn't.
But in hindsight, I mean, that's a hindsight.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the next question is, has Ryan looked at the agreement to see if it's binding?
We're talking about this agreement within 2013 water.
No, since 2008.
Oh, okay. You know, I guess I haven't seen that agreement, if it's the 2008 one. What was this document that you sent out?
That's actually the draft agreement that they've come up with. If the city is interested in exchanging territory in lieu of dollars, that was the agreement that they came up with.
Right. The one thing that I questioned in looking at this agreement, which is the agreement that they proposed to resolve the issue, is the authority of the governing body back when that original agreement was made to bind subsequent governing bodies as to whether or not they would engage in annexations. Typically, governing bodies, past governing bodies, do not have that authority. I wasn't asked to, but didn't look at in the context of rural water districts whether that authority is binding or not.
But the one thing I add is it doesn't prohibit us from annexing. We can annex anywhere we want. It's just who provides the water service. We can grow as we need to grow.
Right.
So the question is who provides that service. And from the water district's perspective, they've made investments in lines and helping with the plants. They've got a lot of cost out there. And when we grow and take over their customer base and the property that could develop, they lose that ability to help pay back those loans.
Right, and let me just add that, setting this agreement aside back in 2008, the law going back to that point in time, and there's kind of been this inherent conflict between water districts and cities for a long time, and it's been litigated because cities will annex properties, and those are areas where rural water districts have infrastructure, have customer bases, and so there's been litigation involving that. Kansas legislature passed legislation in this area back in 2010, which lays out very specifically when a city annexes property that is covered by a rural water district and how valuations are arrived at. There's a 12-factor test under state legislation that was passed in 2010. Before 2010, that area, there was a predecessor statute to the statute that was in 2010, and a similar analysis was engaged in, and that analysis not only included the cost of the infrastructure of the rural water district that was being taken over in the area of the city, but then some case law that was interpreted and applied that statute, which would have been in effect back in 2008 when the agreement was entered into, also indicated that cities can be liable for the quote-unquote going concern value of the rural water district, which in essence is the value of its customer base. So, I'm sure back in 2008 when these agreements were entered into to try to resolve these issues on the annexations, I'm sure much of that was taken into consideration, and that's probably how a lot of it got arrived at.
Couple questions. Looking at the map here, so if you look basically to the east side of the southernmost part, that's all J07, right, Johnson?
Correct.
How about to the south? Is that correct as well?
That's correct.
So basically, it's encompassed on all sides by Johnson County 7. There's no
They
outside.
surround us.
Okay, and is that the same on both of these spots marked right now? Is that the same on the 183rd and Waverly? They basically, outside of what's marked here, they already have all of that territory?
Correct, and I believe they provide service to the city of Edgerton and all that. Yes.
Do that. You know, one of the things when we voted to participate with Edgerton in the treatment facility down there was based off capacity, I think, in some of these areas. I wonder how losing these customers will affect some of those projections that we had in place with our participation and financing in that facility.
But we're not, would they take wastewater too?
No, wastewater would still be
Yeah.
on.
It would, okay, so it would only be the water
Yeah, they
service
don't-
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wastewater is, it's
Sure.
inheritively, it's not a money maker.
Well, it wasn't a moneymaker, but it was from plant operation and just,
Yeah.
I mean, efficiencies is what was based on the premise.
No, the economies of scale is money.
So going back to your comments, Ryan, the part that you said was not, allowed by council, where you said that there was some action that council may not have been authorized to take by law. Explain that part again, was that?
It's been a while since I looked at this stuff, and I only looked at the 2013 draft agreement that, has been worked up. But my understanding from reading that agreement, and the whereas clauses talks about